Welcome to the Long Run with Joel and Chrissy. I'm Joel, flying solo today, and this is episode 2 of the Nerdy Runner. I'm talking about my training lead up to the Boston Marathon, which will take place on April the 17th. We're going to be covering 3 weeks today, March the 6th through the 12th, March the 13th through the 19th, and March the 20th through the 26th, and that gets us current to last Sunday. So, going to be talking about those. Talking a little bit about my strategy for the marathon, because this will probably be the last video I do before we do the marathon video um, in April. So let's kind of talk about my training for the last 3 weeks. I cut back a little bit on my mileage. I took some extra off days. I'm trying to listen to my body and just make sure that I'm not overdoing it. I know I can run the distance. That's no problem. It's just a matter of making sure my body gets there in one piece. So for March the 6th through the 12th, I ran 41 total miles. I took a couple of days off. My biggest run was 2 10-mile runs during the week. My long run on Sunday was only 7 miles by choice that week. So I did 41 miles that week. For March the 13th through the 19th, I did 48 miles, which is a little bit longer because I had a 20-mile run on Sunday, which I felt pretty good about. I hit most of my marks. I came in right around 8 minutes and 30 seconds per mile, which is really what I'm shooting for. Not really wanting to set a PR on this one. Just want to enjoy the journey. So I did 48 miles that week. I took 3 days off that week, just because different things come up, and just listening to my body and exactly what it wants me to do. So, as I said, I'm not trying to overdo it, but I do want to keep the mileage up as much as I can to make sure I have good mileage under me before I actually get there. And then this past week, the 20th through the 26th, I only did 36 miles. I took an extra day off, 3 days off this week again, just making sure that everything is good to go. I did 16 miles, and it was a mistake on my part, but I did 16 miles on Sunday, which was a planned 16 miles. But I did it. The race time for me is going to be about 10:50 to 11 o'clock a.m. Uh, in 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 Boston, and so I felt like I needed to do a run during that time. And I thought I had looked up the weather correctly on the weather app, and it was showing 90s for Boston, but it wasn't showing 90s for Boston. It was showing 90s for Orlando, and highs in the 60s, lows in the 40s, highs in the 60s in Boston. So I thought I needed to run some in the heat, and that 16 miles was pretty much a debacle. I got through it. The first 8 miles was pretty good, but after that, it was not a very good run. Took my time getting back. Finished in about I want to say just a little less than 3 hours, um, but not a very productive run. I hope it'll help me with my stamina and things, but really wasn't needed because it's not going to be that warm. Not going to be that warm when we get to Boston in April, hopefully. Unless the weather changes dramatically, it's not going to be that warm when we get there. It will be that time when we take off, and I mean when we start the race. Um, but even with the sun out, those kind of temperatures are not going to affect me that much. Um, um, so lesson learned. Make sure you're looking at the right dates in the right town. So I did 36 miles last week. Like I said, I took 3 days off just to make sure, just leading up to that 16 miler that I was going to run during the middle of the day, just so make sure I didn't overdo it. And I didn't, and still feeling pretty good about where I'm at. Did a 10-mile run this morning, felt really good about it, and really looking forward to what's coming up um, in the next few weeks. I do have one 20-mile run left coming up on Sunday, and then I officially start my taper. But I kind of feel like I've already started the taper already because I've been taking an extra day off. I've just been keeping my mileage up as much as possible in the days that I do run. Um, and looks like I'm going to run somewhere between 180 and 190 miles this month. I won't get 200 like I did in February, but um, I feel good about those numbers. I've never, that's the second highest I've ever run. 200 in February was the highest I've ever run in a month, and this month will be the second highest I've ever run in a month. Um, so really excited about those numbers and where they're headed. The last 20 miler is coming up, then we start the taper in earnest, and then we leave. We're making a road trip. Going to do some videos for our other channel, Adventures on the Long Run, going up there. And then most of the videos that we'll do while we're at the marathon will be on this channel, and then road trip coming back. And we'll chronicle all of that on the Adventures on the Long Run channel. So if you want to go over there, kind of check out some of that stuff if you haven't already, go over there and check out some of our videos over there. I'll have Christy post a link in the description box below. I want to talk a little bit about my weight. I had a goal weight to get to under 170 pounds by the time the race got here. When I started, I was at about 177, 178 pounds after Christmas, because we all carry a little holiday weight. So I've been watching what I eat. I haven't been eating particularly. People wouldn't say it's particularly healthy because I do eat at work every day, but I do portion control, especially when I'm at work and when I'm at home as well. But I do portion control and eat in moderation. And so far, with the running that I've done and kind of the eating plan I've been on um, for the last few weeks, when I weighed in this morning, I was at 166. I was looking to get a little buffer weight under like 165, 164, because during the taper I'm not going to run as much, but I still need to eat because I need to keep my stamina up and my need to keep my proteins in, my carbs in. Um, Try not to overdo it, but I need to keep at least the pace that I'm at, and I don't want to gain back to where I'm 170, 171 by the time Boston gets here over those last 2 weeks. I hope I wouldn't do that, but I'm trying to build in a little buffer weight just for that purpose. So I'm at 166 right now, and hopefully by the time Sunday gets here, maybe down 165, 164, and then that way I can work my way back a little bit towards race day. Um, just kind of talk about my strategy a little bit, maybe some of my goals. I don't really have any goals for this race. I mean, this is my goal race. Um, and I don't really have any goals other than I'd like to be less than 4 hours. There's only a couple of races I've done that I haven't. Maybe three races I've done, three marathons I've done that have been over 4 hours. And so I'd like to be under 4 hours uh, if I can. I believe I can do that even with the way the course is laid out. It's a net downhill from start to finish, but the hills come in around miles 16 through 21, with the hardest hill being Heartbreak Hill at mile 20, which is where most people hit the wall. And um, I'm looking to kind of get past that. I haven't done a lot of hill training. I've done some of the routes that I run do have some elevations, not a lot, but I feel like I'm prepared for those when they get here. Um, so I'm looking for less than 4 hours. Second thing is I'm going to run my 10-10-10, which is the first 10 miles, the second 10 miles, and the last 10K. But I'm going to do it differently than I've done it before. Usually I would do it the first 10 miles a little bit faster than marathon pace. The next 10 miles a little slower than marathon pace. And then the last 10K is all you got, giving my legs that rest during those middle 10 miles. But this one I'm going to do a little bit differently, only because of the course layout. If you know anything about Boston, like I said, is a net um, elevation loss over the 26.2 miles, but a lot of that is lost in the first 4 miles. So the first 4 miles is really a pretty steep uh, descent into the towns below from Hopkinton. And so I want to run my first 10 miles a little slower than marathon pace to preserve my legs and my quads and make sure when I get to mile 20, I haven't blown them out like I did in Utah. I did a marathon in Utah that I thought was going to be my Boston qualifier, and it started on the top of a mountain, and it was straight downhill for the first 22 miles down the hill. And I didn't do a lot of hill training, didn't do any hill training for that because we lived in Houston, didn't really know where to go and do hill training. But, and so I was running a little better than marathon pace for the first 13, 14, 15 miles. I was really on pace and really about to knock this out. And then at mile 18, my quads just gave out. I did finish the race. I finished it. I finished it in 4 hours and 4 minutes, but I did walk a lot those last probably 4 or 5 miles, just because my quads were just killing me. And so I'm going to take the first 10 miles a little slower than marathon pace. The second 10 miles maybe a little faster or right at or a little faster than marathon pace if I can. And then those last 10K is going to be everything I got to finish the race. And then the third thing, my third goal is just to enjoy the journey. As I said, this is a goal race for me. Never thought I'd be able to qualify. I tried 5 or 6 times before, and it didn't happen. And then I trained hard for the Celebration Marathon, which was February, was a year ago in 2022, and ran what I wasn't the perfect race, but it was perfect enough for me. And came in at 3:31:01 and got me into Boston for this year. And really excited about where we're going. So I really just want to enjoy the journey, see the sights. I've read a lot and I've watched a lot of videos and I've heard a lot of people talk about the course, and I just really want to enjoy it, and I want to enjoy every minute and every mile that I'm out there. So that's kind of where we're at, kind of where we're headed. And the next time you hear from me will be after the race. We'll already have done it. And looking forward to giving you that video, some highlights, and just kind of my take on what it's like to run the Boston Marathon. And so that'll be coming up probably by the end of middle to the end of April, probably close to the end because the marathon's on the 17th. So anyway, drop me some comments below. If you have some strategies for me or some comments you'd like to make or anything you'd like me to know. If you know anything about the Boston Marathon course and you want to tell me that, I'd be more than happy. If you know anything about Boston you'd like for us to know, the things we can do there, drop us those comments below as well. We'll be driving up I-95, so if you live anywhere around I-95 and you know some oddball things you'd like for us to see and check out, we'd love for those things as well, to do those things as well. So let us know in the comments below the things that you might recommend we see along the way or see while we're there. You want to check out another one, my other video in this series, The Nerdy Runner, it's going to be right here. Go ahead and click that as soon as we do the ending right here. But with that said, that's going to do it today for the Long Run with Joel and Chrissy. I'm Joel, flying solo today. Don't forget the long run. Give yourself a little grace.